Howdy, I'm the Savage Sheeb, and I'm going to talk about some jokes I have with friends of mine. We all have inside jokes with friends of ours. Jokes only our group of friends would understand. So, these are by far my favorite of many, and at least the ones I can remember offhand. First up, let's go with one that used to be an inside joke with my friends, but in my area, it's kinda caught like wildfire. First, I gotta ask you something. You ever watch that show Blue Mountain State? The one about the party college? Yeah? Well, you know when the character Thad mentions his pocket pussy that his father gave him from Bosnia? Well, somehow, someway, me and my friends interpreted that scene as, in Bosnia, everything and its mother wants you dead. Now let me preface with, I know nothing about Bosnia. I am not racist against Bosnians, and this joke cannot possibly be offensive towards Bosnians as it makes quite literally no sense anyway. So, anywho, the way the joke goes is as follows, because they are very diverse. A Bosnian, insert anything harmless here, is a, insert something deadly here. So, as an example, a Bosnian frisbee is a predator shuriken. A Bosnian shot is when your friends cut open your stomach, put a bottle of liquor in it, sew it up, and then punch your stomach until the glass inside shatters. A Bosnian pinky promise is the whooshy finger hold from Kung Fu Panda. Or I'll use my personal favorite. A Bosnian bus is Appa from Avatar The Last Airbender doing a mound of coke, screaming and zooming out of a mountain he's in. And in Bosnia, to catch the Bosnian bus, you have to throw a lasso in the air and hope the whiplash doesn't kill you. Point is, in our version of Bosnia, everything wants to kill you. Next up is Rocky the dog. Good old Rocco. Rocco is basically a dog that's existed since before time itself was even a concept. Rocky is immortal, and having experienced all that life has to offer, Rocky now prays for the sweet release of death. Not unlike Terminus, who in of himself is a joke. Rocky has seen everything, as well as been through everything, even our version of Bosnia. Now, Rocky has something that allows him to talk like Stephen Hawking's, basically. And the way he likes to introduce himself is, "Hello, it is I, Rocky. I want to die." Truly, Rocky is the guy you want to invite to all your parties, as I'm sure he's loads of fun. Next up is Brendan Fraser. Oh yeah, that guy, you know, the one that you struggle to remember? When's the last time you or anybody has seen a Brendan Fraser movie, or even a movie that he was going to be in, like a trailer? Be honest. Let me know in the comment section below, please. He needs somebody to know who he is. Me even mentioning his name, I feel, is the most exposure that man has gotten in years. That poor guy, I mean, literally poor. He can't even afford for me to continue. And then there's Mr. D and Johnny. Have you ever had a creepy gym teacher? Well, that's Mr. D. The joke is, Mr. D is a lot of things, none of which involve any form of physical education. The only thing Mr. D does, and goes so far out of his way to do, is to torture this poor child whose name is actually Trevor, but Mr. D calls him Johnny. Mr. D likes Johnny's calves a lot. And every time he talks, he just sounds creepier and creepier. His catchphrase is basically, "Hello, Johnny." And Johnny is essentially Morty from Rick and Morty, but instead of saying Rick, he says Mr. D. Johnny has been stuck in Mr. D's basement for years, and he no longer knows how old he is, only that he's under 15. Because I feel like if he was anywhere older than that, Mr. D would not find much interest in him anymore. Mr. D is a very, very sick man. Re and oof aren't really inside jokes, but me and Cyberbolt usually say it. Re means you're basically screaming because you had a really shitty day. Oof is when you feel so touched by something, usually in a negative light, that you literally feel it. And I promise I don't mean touched by Mr. D. Banjo. Oh lord. Banjo. Banjo from Banjo-Kazooie is everybody's evil conscience. Every horrible thing you ever thought of, it's because of Banjo's influence. Banjo is why humanity is so corrupt. You look into his eyes and tell me you still feel like God exists. Banjo exists where nothing is everything and everything is nothing. Banjo thrives off of your misery. Banjo... well, in short, Banjo is the worst and the most fucked up thing you could possibly think of. Ask Banjo sometime what he feels when he fires a gun into somebody's face, and Banjo will just laugh and say, "Gah-huh, recoil!" Alright, now Gobbledor. Gobbledor's a pretty simple one. It's basically Grok from Paladins. It's a more fitting name for him, as I'm pretty sure he's retarded. So, me and Cyberbolt now call Grok Gobbledor. Lastly is Narchomp. You know that Pokemon Garchomp? Well, according to Professor Oak, Narchomp isn't even genetically a Pokemon. The Pokédex does not register what Narchomp is. Technically, what Narchomp actually is the apex predator of our warped version of Bosnia, and all Narchomp knows how to do is kill things. He has a particularly strong hatred for anyone who doesn't listen to metal, as his theme is the very concept of metal music itself. He also kills anything that breathes, technically, as his metabolism means he's constantly in a state of starvation, so he's constantly killing. And yet even Narchomp fears Banjo. Anyway, Narchomp came about because me and a buddy of mine, we used to say when we'd get into my car, put on some gnarly tunage, usually followed by metal songs. Eventually, Pokemon was brought up. I don't recall why, I just remember it was brought up, and we made the name Narchomp, so technically Narchomp is also my aux cord. And that's it for this video. I named all the important jokes I can remember offhand, and hey, if you enjoyed my video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I have a link below for my Discord server, so feel free to check that out too. Have a beautiful day, and see you all later.